The biggest story, however, again, not earnings season, not the war, not inflation, is Elon Musk, who made an offer to purchase Twitter, the social media site, $43 billion, which amounts to a little over $54 a share. And Elon Musk, his character, I get it. People love him. People hate him. He has a huge following. You can't ignore what he's accomplished. I think but Tesla should be trading maybe at $300 a share instead of where it is now, $900, wherever it is now. But when you have a loyal following and believers and people believe, they hold the stock forever and they love it. And he's delivered on a lot of those promises. Again, you have those detractors, people who've been saying you should short Tesla since it was 100, 200, 500, 900, and they're still going to say it, regardless of the production numbers going up and the profitability going up and the fact that they don't have any liquidity concerns anymore. But make no mistake, because this is a huge story, and I don't think it's a huge story for the reasons that you're hearing on TV. Especially when watching, again, it's just so much shitty coverage. I won't single out anyone, but there's so much shitty coverage on this event where they're talking how Twitter should not be sold to a billionaire. The board is against Elon because he wants to turn this into a free speech platform. Those are the big debates. And guys, that's the bullshit you want to avoid. That's the bullshit, okay, that you want to avoid. It gets you fired up. It gets you want to say things on social media. That's the point. That's why they're telling you this. That's why that's the reason for the story to be so big. Another billionaire is going to own an outlet. He shouldn't be able to own a media outlet. The board of directors should be against this. Say wants to turn it into a free speech platform. No free speech. It's just anti-American. I mean, again, a lot of this is BS when you look at Twitter. And these narratives created by the media to make your blood boil, right? So you're going to post more crap on social media. You're going to watch more TV, which is great for these companies, but it does nothing for you. It does nothing for you. Except probably get you angry. But the political narrative, BS, it astonishes me. It really does. And Elon shouldn't be allowed to purchase Twitter because he's a billionaire? Really? Zuckerberg has full control over Facebook, right? One of the largest media outlets on the planet. Washington Post is owned by Jeff Bezos, right? Look at Murdoch family owns Fox, which includes the Wall Street Journal and the New York Post. Bloomberg became the mayor of New York City, also ran for president, lost, got smoked, but became a massive donor for the Democrats, especially finding those governor races that was super tight and providing hundreds of millions of dollars to them, right? Georgia, South Carolina, whatever. You can do what you want with your money, but you saw what type of stories that were coming out of Bloomberg and what was published during the election. Atlantic is owned by Steve Jobs' widow, who's a massive liberal, who backed Kamala Harris for president, maybe the only Democrat to do it during the Democratic presidential primaries. Democrats hated Kamala Harris. I mean, she was the first major candidate to drop out of the race because she got crushed during the debates by Tulsi Gabbard, Elizabeth Warren, and Biden, and she was out like immediately. Mark Benioff, billionaire CEO of Salesforce, he owns Time. Steve Forbes with Forbes. What are you talking about? I mean, it amazes me that so many of these sites, they're writing stories through their sites, and they have articles on how Elon Musk should not be able to purchase Twitter because he's a billionaire. Now, Twitter is going to become this haven where false information is published. Really? False information and fake stories? That's what you're worried about? It's fucking hypocrites. You got to be kidding me. But that's the narrative being pushed. That's what you're seeing on all posts every place right now. And then you go to the free speech argument, which is being pushed by Musk. So he wants to be a free speech platform. The conservatives are saying, you know what? If he's not allowed to purchase Twitter, that's anti-American. Because America is turning away from the founding principles of free speech. Again, this narrative is bullshit as well. And look, Twitter, like all social media sites, they're platforms. They're run by companies, board of directors, so free speech is not in play. You have free speech on someone's platform when you're working for someone or a company. If you think so, you listen to this at work, stand up on your chair and say women deserve less money than men and everyone that's gay should not be allowed to work in the office. Try saying that. You'll get fired in about 30 seconds. You don't have free speech on these platforms. That's the way it is. They're owned by somebody. And now they're polling people who do not support their agenda, which we saw during the election, which is crazy. You're like, whoa, I mean, a lot of people didn't know it, but that you're suppressing like full stories. And now a lot of things that were suppressed, we're seeing come back to light that happen to be true. which is pretty crazy. But free speech, that's not available on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. And if you look, at it, take a step back for just a second. I mean, the control that they have that we bitch about all the time is our fault. It's our fault. I mean, at the end of the day, we control Facebook, we control TikTok, we control Twitter, Instagram, we the people, right? We're on those platforms talking all the time, telling everyone what we do every minute of the day, where we're going on vacation, which, we're creatures of habit, so we're going to go on vacation the same weeks during the year, shop at the same places during school season, whatever. Go away in the summer months. And what do? We share everything we like. Again, every place we're here right now, checking in, and we share everything, our entire lives on these platforms, which they use so marketers could just put shit in front of us immediately, which we see. Try doing a Google search on whatever. You're going to see all the ads pop up on every site you look at for the product you just wanted. So if you stop using, or we stop using all these social media platforms, they go out of business. Or at least they'll have to change their business models from advertising to something else, which Facebook is doing, right? They're doing a metaverse. That's not going to happen right away. Be over the next few years. But I expect all social media companies to change into metaverse companies over the next 3 years or so. It's happening now. Look at all the major retailers, tech companies, buying up real estate on certain platforms. It's a way to use decentralization and security checks to where you need to put in your phone number. You need to have an accurate address to be in the metaverse, which removes fake accounts, limits the bots that are controlling and stuff being pushed at you. There's a reason why you're seeing billions pour into this industry right now. And when I say right now, this year, past 4 months, Epic just raised $2 billion for the metaverse. Bored Apes, $400 million. It's an Australian company, $300 million. To Qualcomm, major companies starting funds to invest in metaverse companies. I mean, you don't really see things like this with market conditions like that. With money pouring in where inflation's running wild, major war taking place, supply chain concerns heating up, the markets around the world selling off, right? The Fed's going to be aggressive, raise rates. And you don't really see money pouring. You'll see it in a few ideas, really good ideas. Maybe it's an AI idea or a climate change idea, ESG, whatever. But an entire sector, see this much money flow in during these times when SPACs can't raise money right now. IPOs are getting put on hold. Is interesting. But that's the trend. That's where it's going. But getting back to Twitter, the story that's being fed to you, especially over the past few days, even during earnings season, which is a surprise, there's so many good headlines, but I guess everybody wants to comment and say shit about this because of the narrative they're pushing out where billionaires owning media sites, it shouldn't happen. Free speech is being threatened, which is not even relevant in this case because it's a platform. But there's a much bigger threat going on here. And it's how public companies are supposed to operate and why the system is becoming broken. That's the real story here. The rest is just smoke and mirrors and getting you fired up. That's massive. I mean, look, when you buy a company, you become a shareholder. All of you are shareholders of companies. So you're probably listening to this company. You might be shareholders of my company and own tokens. The publicly traded company, then what? They hire a board of directors who are supposed to act in the best interests of you, the shareholder. That's their job. So forget politics and free speech for a minute. Forget if you're a Democrat or Republican for a minute, just for a minute, which is hard to do these days. The facts are Elon Musk made a bid to purchase Twitter a week ago at $54 a share. That's over a 50% premium since the day before he started to accumulate shares. In other words, if it wasn't for Elon Musk, and you're a shareholder, I'm talking to you as a shareholder, Twitter would still be trading around $33, $34 a share instead of $48 a share, with a $54 bid on the table. So if you're a shareholder, this is ecstatic news. I don't care if you like Elon, if you hate him. As a shareholder, you're buying his stock because you want it to appreciate to value. When you get that value, you could sell it, and then your family becomes more wealthy. You can take vacations. You can do whatever you want with it, buy your kids more stuff. That's why we invest, is to improve our lives, to increase our wealth. And this is exactly what's happening right now. It's ecstatic news. Considering every tech and media company is getting smoked. They're down 20% plus. Even the NASDAQ 100, if you take the largest companies, I should just say take maybe the 5 largest. Because you look at Microsoft and Apple holding up rather well, down, but now it's down as everything else. But the NASDAQ 100, the average company is down over 15% year to date. So you look at a technology stock getting smoked, growth names getting nailed, but Twitter would be in the low 30s right now without this bid.